What are the properties of parallel lines cut by transversal? Yan ang pag-uusapan natin ngayon dito sa ating matsayang talakayan. Kaya, stay tuned! Hello grade 8 learners! Welcome back to our channel. For today's video, we are going to discuss proving properties of parallel lines cut by a transversal. With the learning competency, proves properties of parallel lines cut by a transversal. Let us begin by defining parallel lines. Parallel lines are lines in the plane which do not meet. That is, two straight lines in a plane that do not intersect at any point are said to be parallel. In the figure, line M is parallel to line N. And a line that intersects two or more lines is called the transversal. Transversal is a line that intersects two or more lines. In parallel lines cut by transversal, we have pairs of angles formed, and these are exterior angles, interior angles, corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, alternate exterior angles, interior angles on the same side of the transversal o yung tinatawag natin na same side interior angles, and exterior angles on the same side of the transversal or same side exterior angles. Isa-isahin natin ang mga ito. So in the figure, we have line M and line N are parallel, and P is the transversal. So the angles formed are angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, angle 4, and on the lower part, angle 5, angle 6, angle 7, and angle 8. So let's begin with corresponding angles. Corresponding angles are two non-adjacent angles, one interior and one exterior on the same side of the transversal. So in here, we can name four pairs of corresponding angles, and these are angle 1 and angle 5. We also have angle 3 and angle 7. And on the other side of the transversal, we have angle 2 and angle 6. And then we have angle 4 and angle 8. What can you say now about the corresponding angles? Correct. Corresponding angles are congruent. In parallel lines cut by a transversal, we can also have four pairs of vertical angles. Vertical angles are pairs of opposite angles formed by intersecting lines. So let's have the first one, angle 1 and angle 4. Another pair is angle 2 and angle 3. Dito naman sa lower part, we also have angle 5 and angle 8. And angle 6 and angle 7. And the relationship exists between vertical angles. We have vertical angles are congruent. Another is we have also pairs of alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are two non-adjacent interior angles on the opposite side of the transversal. Again, it is non-adjacent and they are interior. And of course, we have to consider that they are on the opposite side of the transversal. Okay, so let's name the two pairs of alternate interior angles. So we have angle 3 and angle 6. And we also have angle 4 and angle 5. Now, what can you say about the pairs of alternate interior angles? Correct. The alternate interior angles are congruent. We also have alternate exterior angles. Alternate exterior angles are two non-adjacent exterior angles on opposite side of the transversal. So we have angle 1 and angle 8. So they are non-adjacent and they are exterior angles, and of course they are on the opposite side of the transversal. Can you name another one? Correct. We have angle 2 and angle 7. Now, what can you say about alternate exterior angles? Correct. Alternate exterior angles are congruent. Another is we have interior angles on the same side of the transversal, o ito yung tinatawag natin na same side interior angles. Same side interior angles are two angles that are on the same side of the transversal and on the interior of the two lines. So in the given figure, we have 3 and 5. So we are going to write angle 3 and angle 5. Another pair is we have angle 4 and angle 6. Now, what can you say about the interior angles of the same side of the transversal? Correct. The interior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary, meaning that the sum of these pairs of angles is equivalent to 180 degrees. We also have exterior angles on the same side of the transversal or same side exterior angles. Same side exterior angles are two angles that are on the same side of the transversal and are on the outside of the two other lines. So let's say we have here exterior angles 1 and 2, 7 and 8. But we are talking about on the same side of the transversal. So meaning if T is the transversal, now we have exterior angles on the same side of the transversal is we have 1 and 7. Another pair is we have 2 and 8. Now, what can you say about exterior angles on the same side of the transversal? Correct. The exterior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary. Again, let us take note the properties of angles formed by parallel lines cut by a transversal. So we have corresponding angles are congruent, vertical angles are congruent, the alternate interior angles are congruent, the alternate exterior angles are congruent, the interior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary, and the exterior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary. Now that you know the different pairs of angles formed by parallel lines cut by transversal and its properties, let us apply them. For example, in the figure, line C is parallel to line D and M is the transversal. So we are going to solve for the measure of angle 8 when the measure of angle 3 is equal to 65. Since wala tayong direct property regarding angle 3 and angle 8, so tingnan natin yung other angles related to angle 3 and angle 8. Now let's consider angle 3 and angle 1. What can you say about angle 3 and angle 1? Correct, they are vertical angles. And what can you say about vertical angles? Yes, they are congruent. So we can now say that the measure of angle 3 is congruent to the measure of angle 1. Now, if the measure of angle 3 is 65, so we have the measure of angle 1 is also 65. Now, what relation exists between angle 1 and angle 8? Correct, they are exterior angles on the same side of the transversal. What can you say about exterior angles on the same side of the transversal? Yes, they are supplementary. So we have the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 8 is equal to 180. Now, since the measure of angle 1 is 65, so substitute lang natin doon sa equation. So we have now 65 plus the measure of angle 8 is equal to 180 degrees. To solve the measure of angle 8, so we are going to subtract both sides of the equation by 65. So that is, measure of angle 8 is now equal to 180 minus 65. And measure of angle 8 is now equal to 150. Using the same figure, we are going to find for the measure of angle 5 when angle 3 is equal to 80. So let's identify the property that we can apply. What can you say about angle 3 and angle 5? Yes, they are alternate interior angles. And alternate interior angles are congruent. So we can say now that the measure of angle 3 is equal to the measure of angle 5. Since angle 3 is equal to 80, then we have now the measure of angle 5, which is also 80. Using the same figure, find the measure of angle 4 when the measure of angle 5 is 60. So what can you say about angle 4 and angle 5? Angle 4 and angle 5 are interior angles on the same side of the transversal. What relationship exists between same side interior angles? Correct. So they are supplementary. So we have now the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 5 is 180 degrees. So substituting the value of angle 5, which is 60, so we have their measure of angle 4 plus 60 is equal to 180 degrees. So to solve measure of angle 4, we have to combine 60 and 180. So we have now measure of angle 4 is equal to 180 minus 60. And then measure of angle 4 is now equal to 120. Now we have to find measure of angle 2 when the measure of angle 6 is 150. What can you say about angle 2 and angle 6? Correct. They are corresponding angles. What property exists between corresponding angles? Correct. They are congruent. So we can now say that measure of angle 2 is congruent to the measure of angle 6. Since measure of angle 6 is 150, then the measure of angle 2 is 150. Next is, we have to find for the measure of angle 7 when the measure of angle 1 is 75. What relationship exists between angle 7 and angle 1? So this is our angle 1 and this is angle 7. Okay, correct. They are alternate exterior angles. What can you say about alternate exterior angles? Yes, they are congruent. So we have measure of angle 1 is congruent to the measure of angle 7. So if measure of angle 1 is 75, therefore we have measure of angle 7 is also 75. What if we are going to solve for the measure of angle 5 when the measure of angle 2 is 7x minus 20 and the measure of angle 8 is x plus 100? So bago natin ma-solve ang measure ng angle 5, kailangan alam muna natin kung ano ang measure ng angle 2 at angle 8. So to solve for the measure of angle 2 and angle 8, kailangan hanapin muna natin ang value ng x. So what relationship exists between angle 2 and angle 8? Correct. So they are alternate exterior angles. And alternate exterior angles are congruent. So we have our equation, measure of angle 2 is congruent to angle 8, and Substituting the values, we have 7x minus 20 equals x plus 100. So, combine similar terms. Combine natin yung 7x and x and combine 100 and 20. So, we have 6x is equal to 20. So, to solve for x, divide both sides of the equation by 6. So, we have x is equal to 20. Since the value of x is equal to 20, the measure of angle 8 is now equal to 20 plus 100. So 20 plus 100 is equal to 120. Now, to solve for the measurement of angle 5, what relation exists between angle 5 and angle 8? Correct, they are supplementary because they form a linear pair. So we can now say that measure of angle 5 plus the measure of angle 8 is equal to 180. Since measure of angle 8 is 120, so we have measurement of angle 5 plus 120 equals 180. So to solve for the measure of angle 5, we have to combine 180 and 120. So subtracting 180 and 120, so you will come up with 60. So therefore, the measure of angle 5 is 60. Ngayon naman, let us prove properties of parallel lines cut by a transversal. So let's say we have in the given, line 1 is parallel to line 2 and T is the transversal. So we are going to prove that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. So let us just complete the statements and reasons in the two-column proof. So first statement is we have line 1 parallel to line 2 and T is the transversal. So what do you think is the reason? Correct. So this is given. Now, what can you say about angle 1 and angle 3? So angle 1 and angle 3 are alternate exterior angles and they are congruent. Now, what relationship exists between angle 3 and angle 2? Correct. So they are vertical angles and vertical angles are congruent. So we can now say that angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent because of transitive property. So transitive property states that if angle 1 is congruent to angle 3 and angle 3 is congruent to angle 2, then angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Another example, so we have given M is parallel to N and T is a transversal. So we are going to prove that angle 1 and angle 7 are supplementary. To prove that, we have to complete the two-column proof. For statement number 1, M is parallel to N and T is a transversal, and that is coming from the given. Now, what can you say about angle 1 and angle 5? So angle 1 and angle 5 are congruent because corresponding angles are congruent. How about angle 5 and angle 8? So angle 5 and angle 8 are congruent because vertical angles are congruent. Now, since angle 1 and angle 5 are congruent, angle 5 and angle 8 are congruent, we can now say that angle 1 is congruent to angle 8 by transitive property. Now, what can you say about angle 7 and angle 8? So they are supplementary, correct? Because angle 7 and angle 8 form a linear pair. So we have angle 7 plus angle 8 is equal to 180. That is under linear pair are supplementary. Okay, so we can now say that angle 1 and angle 7 are supplementary because same side exterior angles are congruent. And that is under same side exterior angles theorem. And now it's your turn. Get your paper and pen and do this activity. And that's for today, guys. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. Again, this is Teacher Dali na nagsasabing, practice makes perfect. Thanks for watching!